Welcome back. It is Friday, January 5th in the NBA. My 5 best bets are on the way. Let's recap yesterday. A very solid 2-0 day. Let's talk about it. Jamal Murray's over in points. Slow start for him. He got it done rather easily. Then we had that Damian Lillard 25 plus points and Devin Vassell 15 plus points. Same game parlay. Vassell ended up being the easy one. He ended up scoring 25 before Dame did, who ended up scoring 25 on the dot. We certainly will take it on a little bit of a 7-2 run. Let's keep that momentum coming on Friday. I do want to put a reminder out there. Put a little reminder. In the pinned comment, there is a very good chance I add a play today. We already have 5 picks in this video. A very good chance I add a play or 2, or maybe even 3. I have a couple games that I didn't have a ton of time to look at, but always check that pinned comment. A very good chance that we add a play today. So I don't want you to miss out on some plays that I like that maybe didn't have a line before I posted the video. But check that pinned comment. You'll see a potential for added plays. We always send them out to our DubClub, our COS All-Stars, and we'll post them on Twitter as well if you're following me there. But let's dive into the picks today. I do want to talk about Parlay Play real quick. One of our sponsors here, very similar to PrizePicks, Underdog, Fantasy, Sleepers of the world. They have a really cool offer right now. If you sign up using our code COS, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. They also did a cool Jokic slashed line yesterday where they reduced his line from 26.5 to 21.5 points. We used it, gave out a parlay, and it smacked. And if you ever, I think they're going to do some more of those in the near future. So make sure you sign up for Parlay Play. We love them. Use code COS. They'll match your first deposit. But you guys came for some picks today. We'll start with the first one. I don't really think you guys would be surprised. I'm taking this guy as one of my favorite players on my favorite team. Over 34.5 points plus assists for Jalen Brunson, minus 110 on DraftKings. We're taking his over in points plus assists. And I know I don't love taking the same guys over and over and over again. Brunson, obviously a guy we back a lot. He's a COS Hall of Famer, typically respects our money. But at the end of the day, I think this line's still too low for Brunson in his role with OG Anunoby now on the team. When this goes up to 35.5, 36.5, I'm probably out. If it's 36.5, I'm not touching it. 35.5, depending on the matchup, I'd probably be in. But Jalen Brunson just has too high of a usage for this line to still be this low. And I say low in quotation marks because still a pretty high line for Brunson. But we've seen in 2 games with Anunoby, Brunson 30 points plus assists on 5 of 23 shooting. So just didn't shoot the ball well against the T-Wolves. And then 44 points plus assists on 13 of 22 shooting last game against the Bulls. And he's played 41 in 38 minutes, averaged 21 potential assists in these 2 games. Look, I talked about this before. I like the trade for OG Anunoby as a Knicks fan. I think he put the ball a little bit more in Brunson's hands, who's much more efficient than RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley. And obviously that's shown over the past few games. And the usage is just ridiculous. And in a game on the road against the Sixers, I don't really expect the Knicks to win this game. So I think they're going to need to play Brunson a ton. And I don't mind his opportunity here. I mean, even in games, these 2 games where Randall has scored 35 plus points, Brunson's still getting insane usage. Imagine a night when Randall just doesn't have it going. Brunson's going to get even more looks. In the 22 and 23 field goal attempts, I'll take my chances with Brunson, one of the most efficient scorers in the NBA. Typically doesn't have very many bad games. I don't expect him to have a bad game here. The Knicks are taking on the Sixers, who will be down DeAnthony Melton. And that's their best perimeter guy, so I don't really know who they have go out there and guard him. Maybe they let Batum guard him, but good luck with that. Pat Bev might guard him a couple minutes off the bench, but those guys' minutes don't really overlap a ton. So I think Brunson will be able to do his thing in their last game against Philadelphia in February. So obviously we're talking about last year. Brunson, 30 points and 9 assists, shot 19 times, 5 free throw attempts. I think it's realistic to expect him to get 20-plus shots tonight. If he's shooting the ball well, he'll get even more. And I still think he'll get to the free throw line and he'll get a ton of potential assists, given that the Knicks don't really have a lot of playmakers. I mean, honestly, the guys out there, I've talked about it a ton. Dante DiVincenzo, not really creating for other guys. OG Anunoby normally needs most of his field goal attempts to be assisted. Julius Randle can do his thing, but off the bench, don't have a lot of point guards out there. Malachi Flynn, I doubt he plays tonight either, but he hasn't played with the Knicks at all. So Brunson's still going to have insane usage. I really think this line's still a little bit too low, over 34.5 points plus assists. Not the greatest matchup against the Sixers, but he's had terrible matchups against the T-Wolves and the Bulls. I think this is a better matchup than those 2. So I really like Brunson. Think about Joel Embiid, plays a lot of drop coverage. Brunson should be able to get to his spots, and we're just asking him to knock down some shots. I love Brunson tonight. You guys know I love him. Now, my second pick is going to be a guy that I haven't talked about in a couple weeks because he hasn't been playing, but he is back, and it's Anthony Simons, over 24.5 points, minus 105 on BetMGM. Now, I was trying to lock this in at 23.5. The line went up on me. I don't love it at 25.5. I love getting those, milestone type numbers with 25 plus points, which is what this would be. So I would play this posted about minus 130. I do believe FanDuel did not have a line when I was posting this to everyone, to all of our DubClub members. Obviously, if you want to join the DubClub, get all the picks early, those details are down below. It's only like $5.99 a month, and those lines normally change before the videos drop. So that's kind of the perk of getting the picks early. But Anthony, like I said, hasn't played a bunch, but he returned back from injury, which was just an illness. Last game versus Dallas, 5 of 16, 1 for 7 from 3, only scored 15 points in 27 minutes. They lost by 31, and they once again played Dallas again here. Now, the spread is about the same as the first matchup, and I think this game's a little bit closer. Typically, you see that when you see teams get blown out, play the same team the next day. Typically, it's a closer game, and I expect this one to be close. Now, I'm not saying the Blazers come out here and steal a victory, but if this game's close, Anthony will play even more minutes. Now, it was reported prior to that game that he was on a minutes restriction. I don't necessarily know if I buy it a ton. I don't see him being on a minutes restriction today. And even if he was, he still played 27 minutes and did not play the final 9 minutes of the game because it was a blowout. So even if he is on a minutes restriction, it's like he was going to play 33-ish minutes in a very close game. I think he's going to continue to play a lot of minutes here. And I think this game's going to be pretty close. Not necessarily too close, but if it's within 15 to 20 points, Anthony should be out there. And this is a guy that's averaged 26.1 points per game this season. Prior to his illness, he was over this line, scored 25 plus in 7 of 10 games. We know how talented Simons is. I don't really think this Mavs team has a very good defender for him, so I think he can attack the hoop where they might not have Derek Lively, their best rim protector tonight. Mavs, a team that gives up a ton of points per game in the paint. Obviously, Simons still scored 15 last game on only 1 3. Probably shoots a little bit better tonight, and I just think Simons is a certified bucket. That's what he does. He puts the ball in the basket. Not really facilitating, not getting the ball to his teammates a ton. DeAndre Ayton also out there shorthanded a little bit, so I really think you'll see him just driving to the hoop, hopefully gets to the free throw line a few times, but we know how talented Anthony Simons is not afraid of going 0 for 10 and continuing to shoot. We know that he can score 0 points in the first half and go off in the second half. He's done that before. I just think Simons has a pretty good game. He only scored 11 in the first half of this last game, which actually normally is pretty good for him, but went 1 for 6 in the second half. Maybe his legs just weren't there for him, but I really like Simons. Give me his over 24.5 points. I wish he got at 23.5, but I don't think it matters tonight. I think he scores 25 plus points. Now, my third play is going to be a guy we just backed a few days ago in his last game. It's once again Emmanuel Quickly of the Raptors, over 24.5 PRAs, points, rebounds, and assists, minus 115 on PointsBet. Now, my favorite individual line would be his over 17.5 points. And if the line did go up to 25.5, I would just take the points or take his points plus assists. But at the end of the day, I really think Quickly still this line's a little bit too low. I don't typically run back a lot of plays, although today we kind of had that. But I think this line's just a tad too low for Quickly in a good matchup. Now, if it was a tough matchup, I'm probably out. But Quickly, in 2 games with Toronto, he had 23 PRAs in a game where he shot 38% from the field, 28 minutes, and then 34 PRAs in that last game we backed his over in points, 44% shooting, and 33 minutes. Now, I believe Quickly's locked into a 32-ish minute roll every single night. If he's playing really well, probably gets closer to 33, 34, 35 minutes, but I still do think he's going to play a lot of minutes. And you could say, Austin, hey, he only played 28 minutes in that first game. Well, number one, it was his first game with the team. What do you expect him to do? Play 100 minutes? Probably not happening. And number two, well, he got 4 fouls in the first half, so he got benched early on in that second quarter, so he didn't get a lot of minutes that he probably would have seen. So I think this is a guy that we know how talented Quickly is, and we've talked about it before. He's playing for a contract, so he has a lot of incentive to play pretty well, and we've seen him. I mean, with the Knicks, he averaged, if this you should continue to see 30 minutes, and with the Knicks, averaged 20 PRAs in 24 minutes. So if you're telling me he's going to get a higher usage, more field goal attempts, and more minutes, and he was, not necessarily hitting this line with the Knicks, but I just think this guy is good. That's the end of the day. I think he's pretty talented. I think he's going to shoot close to 15 times, and it's just a good matchup for him against the Kings. The pace-up spot, we know Sacramento plays super fast, and I just think at the end of the day, this over-under is 240. They're going to need him out there a lot, and, he's coming off a really good second half. I heard from him, or, what his coach said, that, hey, go out there and have fun. He was looking a little bit stiff, and he went out and had fun in the second half. 18 points, 1 rebound, and 3 assists in 17 minutes. Obviously, he shot really well from the three-point line, made 5 threes. 3 for 10 on his other shots. We know Quickly he can drive to the hoop, make those floaters. Was kind of missing those gimme shots that he normally makes. He can get to the free throw line too. I really think Quickly this line's too low. If it was like 26.5, yeah, I'm not taking it, but 24.5, too low for Emmanuel Quickly in his usage that I think he continues to see with Toronto. So give me his over 24.5 PRAs, minus 115 on PointsBet. Now my fourth play, it's going to be a guy that I imagine a lot of the comments are going to hate. The first 3 picks I think you guys are fine with. This fourth one, I know you guys are going to hate this one. And it's Macau Bridges, the Brooklyn Nets, over 20.5 points, minus 113 on FanDuel. Now I would take this at 21.5. I really considered a same-game parlay of him to score 20 and Cam Johnson to score 10 points. I just ended up going just 20.5. Didn't want to overcomplicate it, but I don't mind that if you're trying, maybe your line's 21.5 and you're trying to find a way out. Now, I know there's a love-hate relationship with Bridges. He was really good for us last year. I think he was a COS Hall of Famer. And then this year, been very up and down, just like the Nets. I mean, this team has been inconsistent, to say the least. And Macau and the Nets lost 5 straight games. Now they return back home to take on a very good OKC Thunder team. Now, I don't bet spreads, but I would be willing to bet 90% of the money is going to be on the Thunder tonight. Whether it's on their money line, on their spread, everyone's going to be hammering the Thunder. They're like -5. That seems like a no-brainer bet against the Nets, a team that stinks. However, I think the Nets show up. This is their return back home after 4 straight road games. I think they show up, and I don't think they keep this game close unless Macau Bridges is playing well. That's the end of the day. He's their #1 player. Cam Thomas is on the bench and hasn't made a shot in like 3 weeks. And so I think at the end of the day, Macau Bridges has to play well. And this is the matchup he has played well in. We saw these two teams just play a few games ago, and you saw in that game the Thunder won by 16 points. Hence why I think a lot of people will be on the Thunder spread today. In that game, Macau 22 points on 20 field goal attempts. He scored 15 in the first quarter on 6 of 8, and then went 2 for 12 the rest of the game. Now it's been the Bridges show. He's just been inconsistent, but I think this guy's just sitting on a lot of points, and if he can put things together, he'll easily hit this over in points. He can hit this over in points in just 1/2. It's just he has not been shooting the ball well recently, and I just think returning back home, he'll eventually get things going, and I think it's a good matchup for him. We saw last season against OKC, scored 34 points. When we think about what is OKC's strength, it's stopping guys from scoring in the paint. You got Chet Holmgren blocking shots like it's going out of style. And so what they give up a lot of is points from the 3-point line and points from the mid-range. That's exactly where Bridges does the majority of his work, hence why he's had success against them. So I look at Bridges, his usage is still there. He's starting with the guys like Nick Claxton. You got Dorian Finney-Smith, who I swear if I see him shoot another 3, I'm going to punch him. And then you got Cam Johnson and Spencer Dinwiddie. He's their #1 guy. They're going to run a lot of plays for him early to start the game. If he makes his first few shots, boom, he's going to probably hit this over. Last game, 18 shots against Houston, just went 5 for 18 from the field. So look, Bridges, much better at home, averaging 20.9 points per game, 4.2% better from the field. And he's over this line, sure, on the season in 18 of 35 games. 6 of his misses, he played less than 30 minutes, so it was a blowout. And you had that game where he didn't only play the first quarter. He's going to play more minutes tonight. I think this game is real close. I think he plays close to 36 minutes. A fast-paced matchup against the Thunder, who play really fast. I like Bridges. I know it's crazy. He's burned us before, but I think this line's too low for him. If he doesn't come through tonight, then I probably won't take another one of his props unless his line drops like 17.5. But I think this line's still a little bit too low for how talented I think he is. It's just been a little bit of slump. It happens, but give me his over 20.5 points, -113 on FanDuel. And now my 5th and final play of the day. But as a reminder, there might be some added plays today, so definitely check that pinned comment. I apologize. I've kind of been breaking up because my internet's been cutting in and out of my video, so I'm trying to make sure that the video is not cutting out for you guys. But let's talk about this Pacers and Hawks game with an over-under at 262.5. Of course, you got to do a same-game parlay here. We're going to call it the daily same-game parlay because you guys have been asking for it, and we've been doing really well in the SGPs. Let's hopefully hit another one. I have 5 legs. It's +153 on FanDuel. Before I even talk about any of the legs, I'm going to talk about some pivots in case, because I know there's going to be some people out there, especially with one guy in here, that might not have the identical lines. I'll talk about that in a second. I do want to note, top link in description, you will see a quick link for the daily SGP. It will take you immediately to FanDuel. You just got to click maybe one button, take you there, load in all the legs for you, so you don't have to go and click all the different legs. It'll do it automatically for you. So if you're placing it on FanDuel, just click that quick link, and it'll save you guys some time. We're putting 1 unit on this at +153. First leg, Trae Young, 25+ points. DeJounte Murray, the second leg, 15+ points. The guy that I imagine will have some questions about, Jalen Johnson, 10 points and 6 rebounds, and Tyrese Halliburton, the 5th leg, for 20+ points. Now, I know there's some people out there, maybe on DraftKings, that cannot take Jalen Johnson at 10+ points. I like him at 12. I honestly was going to do him at 15. Just think 10 is really safe for him. Obviously, I think he scores 12. If I could have taken 12 on FanDuel, I would have to get better value because I think he scores at least 12 tonight. 6 reps. I don't really love him at 7. I want to put that out there. Would not take him at 7. I don't mind him obviously at 5. You can take 5. That's better than 6. But I think he gets 6 boards. He had 7 in their last matchup. I'll talk about that in a second. All this, 1 unit to win 1.53. Let's hopefully dial in on these SGPs. Now, like I said, this over-under of this game is 262.5. Yeah, that's the highest, I think, in NBA history, highest I've ever seen, and they're expecting a lot of points. And in the last matchup between these two teams, they got a lot of points. They couldn't set the over-under high enough because in that game, final score, 157 to 152. Each team shot 60% from the field. In that game, Trae Young, 38 points. DeJounte Murray, 28 points. Jalen Johnson, 17 points and 7 rebounds. And Halliburton had 37 points of his own. Obviously, this SGP hit pretty easily in all facets, in all regards. It was a sweat-free winner. Now, I don't expect this game to combine for 309 points, probably the most ever in a regulation game. And I think at the end of the day, these are guys that are going to have the ball in their hands. And I really like Johnson. I liked him. I consider his PRA line. But I think at the end of the day, these are guys that are going to have the ball in their hands, and going to be shooting the ball a ton. Halliburton, I know a lot of people are going to be on his assists today. I don't really think the Hawks double team him as much as they have been against opposing number one ball handlers. I think maybe they let him score a little bit more, because if you're doubling Halliburton, you're asking for him to drop 20 assists on your head, and that's just not a good recipe for success. So maybe Hallie scores some points. Obviously, I think he gets a lot of assists. I would have added 10 assists in here, but that's like minus 1,300, and yeah, that goes against everything I believe in, adding a guy for 10 assists at minus 1,300. I just can't do it. So I think this one's got a good shot. I mean, we're risking one unit here. We've done really well in the daily SGPs, which we'll try to keep them a staple of the videos going forward. I really think we got a good chance here. I think we got Trey. Obviously, he's really consistent, been really good. He's probably the sketchiest like here if we're talking about a guy with the best odds to score 25 plus points, but I think his volume has been really good, and this guy, we know he can get to the free throw line. Played really well against Indiana over, the past few seasons. And so we're going to roll with that same game parlay. Like, I don't know what the heck my camera was doing. I had to edit this after the fact. But those are my 5 favorite picks of the day. Appreciate you guys for tuning into the video. I know it was a long one. If we do add a play, which I'm going to go work on some right after I post this video, it will be down below in the pinned comment. So definitely check that out. We'll probably add 1 or 2. I don't want to add, 10. But I really like the slate today. We got a big slate, a lot of teams playing. So we're going to try to find some value, hopefully win you guys some money. So I appreciate you guys. Have a great Friday. See you guys back in the next one. Hopefully my camera is not acting up like crazy tomorrow. But I'll see you guys then. Peace. Also, later on today, we should have a NFL video for Saturday. I'm going to go look at that slate after I look at the NBA one. But you guys have a great Friday. See you in the next one. Peace.